In late June, either the 27th or 42nd Eurozone summit to deal with the sovereign debt crisis ended. At the end of that summit, markets rose. There was some sort of an intermediate deal to try and improve banking regulation and coordination, and a little more talk about, okay, we'll give you a little more bailout if you do this or if you do that. Since then, also, Cyprus has applied for and received a bailout of its banking system. And so until the drought came along, I would argue even in agriculture, this was the #1 driving force in our markets, was the European sovereign debt crisis. Now with the drought, it's taken a back seat, but it still matters. It matters because it's going to have a lot to do with impacting what demand looks like globally, and that's going to have a lot to do with how quickly our export demand gets rationed in response to the prices we're seeing and in response to these low yields, especially the demand for our corn from China. So what can we expect going forward from the European sovereign debt crisis? The first thing to realize is not very much for about the next couple months. Right now it's mid-July. They've just been through a summit. We've kind of reached a bit of a stasis point. And now that we've done that, the bankers are all looking towards August. And in August in Europe, bankers go on vacation. Go back and look. Cute little pattern. Go back and look over the last 3 years. Look at the headlines in July of the banking crisis. Go pull out your Wall Street Journal, and what you'll see is early July, there's always a lot of headlines about the sovereign debt crisis. Then we hit August, and the headlines disappear. For 4, 5, 6 weeks of the year, conveniently corresponding with how many weeks of paid vacation European bankers get, the crisis goes away. It goes away, and we start to feel almost like, okay, we've passed this storm. It's going to work out. Early September, not long after our Labor Day, things start heating up again. People start recalling the fact that, oh yeah, we've lost about $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion in sovereign debt. We see that there are many countries in Southern Europe whose economies are teetering. Maybe we should do something about that. And that's going to happen again. We've hit a quiet point. It's going to stay quiet, I'd expect, until after Labor Day. Don't fool yourself. We may even get a rally in the equity and bond markets because we're not hearing this constant flow of negative news. If you've got something you want to take profits on, that's probably the time, because come September, and we've seen this again the last 3 years in a row, it's going to heat up again. It's going to come in the news again. We're going to see the markets react to increasing worries about what's going to happen in the euro and whether the euro will stay together, who's going to stay in, who's going to leave. And so keep an eye on this, enjoy the next 6 weeks as much as we can, because that's all that's going to last.